think it's an upset anymore.
No.
I think they run away with this one.
Yeah, I think South Carolina is a legitimate national title contender at this point. Connor Shaw has kind of proven me wrong and exceeded my expectations. He's been very smart, very efficient. He made some good runs in that game, but he didn't do anything too stupid to put himself out there. And I think this matchup of the South Carolina defense against the struggling LSU offense, there's no shot. The only thing LSU has going for it is that it's in Baton Rouge, but I don't think that's going to be enough here.
I don't think it'll help. I think South Carolina wins, and they win by 14.
Yeah, I'd be on board with that. So I'm going to take South Carolina in this one as well. We're going to take a quick commercial break right now. I've got a couple other Pick 10 games to talk about. As David mentioned, we had a little poll action on the blog this week. We'll run through that, let you know who the best team in all the land is. The answer may surprise you. We'll be right back on the other side of outputting our coverage.
We're back, don't know what we're talking about. 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 We're back, here we go. No more commercials. Here we go. Always talking stuff. We're back, don't know what we're talking about, but we're back. Time for the show, We're back, here we go.
All right, we are back. I wish I could say that I was back from the dead in the official outputting our coverage pick'em standings, but fortunately I'm still bringing up the rear.
That's right. Somebody who's not bringing up the rear after a couple of stellar weeks, Larry Baker has come out of nowhere and is now tied for 6th. He's only 5 games back from the leader, so
it's an Oakland Athletics type move up the leaderboard.
It really is. Congratulations, Larry. We had 2 people at the top of the leaderboard this past week. It was Larry and Drooby Snacks. Drooby Snack seems to be kind of bipolar a little bit. Really good one week, down at the bottom the next. Max 2011, strong and steady as usual at 7-3 with Garrett Burke. I was the only one at 6-4. Some of my strategies paid off. A lot of them didn't. Rumpel Thuglies was tied with a big group, including yourself at 5-5. Another big group was at 4-6. Bama fan really falling off the wagon at this point with a 4-6 week. And then let's see, we had Antica at 3-7, a newcomer, and we had a new person join the league. That was Sports Illiterates. I believe that was Joe Tutwiler, good friend of the show. So good to see you there. You can still sign up at any time on the pick'em at the poll. Right now, the overall standings, we have Max 2011 with now a 2-game lead on anybody. Garrett Burke has moved up the charts. He's in sole possession of 2nd. We're really starting to see some separation here. Not a whole lot of ties anymore. I'm at 9th right now, tied for 9th. And Andy, you are at tied with 14th with Grizzly McDaddy's at 31. The only people lower than you are people who joined late. So
Thank you.
Congratulations with that.
Full 11 games behind, but there's not time. There's not time to come back. I can at least make it respectable, though.
Okay,
that's the plan.
Make it respectable.
That's the plan. Speaking of respectable, I don't know how I'm going to transition this one into a mediocre Big 12 game, but Kansas State, Iowa State, first up on the non-SEC portion of your Pick 10 this week. Iowa State really
impressive last week.
They've been good. I mean, Paul Rhodes, possible Auburn coach. I mean, last time you got your coach from Iowa State? I don't know. We'll get off Auburn now. Kansas State has looked really good, though. I don't think they're a national title contender per se, but Colin Klein, as long as he's healthy, I have a hard time betting against them.
I love what one of Iowa State's players said last week when they upset TCU, who had the nation's longest winning streak. And not only did they upset them, they went to their place and upset them. So Iowa State's looking pretty strong, but their defensive player said, how many upsets are we going to have to pull before we stop calling them upsets?
Yeah.
It was. I thought it was a good line. However, 2 of them back-to-back. I know Iowa State's playing at home. Kansas State looks good. Iowa State is still the Cyclones. It's really hard to stay up back-to-back when you don't have the caliber of talent and maybe the depth that an Alabama or an SEC team would have. So I think Kansas State wins. I think they probably cover the 6.5 spread.
Yeah, Iowa State has had a lot of trouble running the ball. It's going to be tough. Really, the only way they could win a game like this is probably trying to control possession, and I don't think they're going to be able to do that. So I'm going to take Kansas State in that one. Let's move on to the Red River Shootout. rivalry, depending on your degree of political correctness. Texas and Oklahoma at the Cotton Bowl. Don't know on this one. Texas looked good. I mean, they did what I thought was going to happen against West Virginia. It was a big shootout.
It was.
So I expect this to be more of the same.
I think so, but I don't know that Oklahoma can keep up. Oklahoma has been a real big disappointment in the Big 12. A lot of people thought they were going to have some big things coming ahead. I didn't see it. The lines were too shaky. It's kind of like a USC. The offensive and defensive lines are just not there. They still haven't fixed their problems. I think Texas is going to get to the quarterback, and they're going to get to him early and often. They always seem to get pumped up for this game. Their offense can't really be stopped by anybody in the Big 12 right now, I don't think. I think Texas wins, and they win going away.
Yeah, Oklahoma's been struggling with their running game, something that traditionally has been a strength of theirs, and with everything being put on Landry Jones, he just has not done a very good job of shouldering the burden. And honestly, at this point, David Ash is the better quarterback, which is something I never thought I would say.
That's weird. The spread's 3.5. What do you think on that?
I don't know. I think Texas is going to win by probably 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
That's my call there. We are scarily similar on our picks this week, by the way.
I wasn't going to mention either.
We will see how this one shakes out. The only Big Ten game I could muster this week, Wisconsin at Purdue, 2 of your remaining contenders from your article.
Right.
This might be a de facto championship game here, right?
It might be. This is so bad that even Vegas has thrown up their hands. This is a 0.5 point spread. Nobody knows what's going on in this. Wisconsin has been terrible all season. They kind of got some wind back under them with a win last week. Purdue looked really good coming into Michigan, as long as you didn't really look at who they played, because they played nobody. They're pretty awful. I think Wisconsin probably wins this one. That's a coin flip, just because, who knows with the Big Ten.
Yeah, I don't think this one's a coin flip, but Wisconsin, they look better against Illinois. Monte Ball finally got some things going. He's the key for that team.
He is.
So if he can go, they're going to have success. And Purdue, they look terrible against Michigan.
They did, but they can put up numbers when they're not facing not even elite, a good defense.
Yeah.
And Wisconsin does not have one.
Okay, all right, but I'm still taking the Badgers.
I am too. I picked Wisconsin.
All right.
As much as it pains me.
We've got to travel out to the Pac-12 here quickly. Oregon State at BYU, I guess Pac-12/Independence. Or actually, our next 2 games, Pac-12/Independence.
Okay,
I don't know what that means, but for Oregon State, the big news, quarterback Sean Mannion is out.
Right.
That is very big, bad news for them.
It is. I think Oregon State is wildly overrated. They've had a couple of, inspiring wins, but I don't believe in them. I think BYU beats them in a huge upset. The Mormons go crazy.
Yep, I'm going to take BYU there, too, for all the same reasons. Oregon State's wins have not really been that impressive. The teams that they've beaten have not.
They beat Wisconsin by 3.
Yeah, I mean, they're not great teams. So BYU in that one. Then we got the supposed game of the week, Stanford at Notre Dame. It is kind of sad that this is the best game that this week could muster. I keep hoping for Notre Dame to lose, but yet again, I don't think it's going to happen this week.
I don't either. Stanford got exposed a lot when they played Washington. And then even when they played Arizona, their defense was awful. It ended up being a big shootout. I don't think they can keep up with Notre Dame. Notre Dame's got a lot of speed on the offense, and I think they've got it's weird to say, but I think they have a better defense, especially better than Arizona, probably better than Washington. So I think Notre Dame wins. It'll probably be close, but maybe not.
Yeah, Stanford's wins, other than the USC game, have not been very impressive. And the big thing that they did in that game against USC was they held USC to about 50 rushing yards. And they have not been able to duplicate that against other opponents. And I have no reason to think they can against Notre Dame either.
Notre Dame is getting 9.5. What do you think about that spread?
Ooh.
I think I'd take the under on that.
I don't know. I'd probably go slightly over.
Okay.
Just a little bit. Like you said, they got a really good defense now. Brian Kelly's kind of turning that team around.
I didn't say really good.
Well,
I think they've got a pretty good
really good for Notre Dame standards.
That's true.
Recent Notre Dame standards. And I think they're going to expose another inexperienced quarterback in Stanford's Josh Nunez. So this is a very momentous occasion. We picked exactly the same on all the games this week. That's very frightening.
I hate this already.
I have a feeling that there's not going to be a lot of separation in the Big Ten overall this week, just because the games to choose from, not that great.
It's an off week. We'll have a good week next week.
Yep. So, all right.
You want to do a quick rundown real quick?
Yeah, let's do a quick rundown of where we're at, sure. Both of us, sadly, taking Ole Miss over Auburn. Both of us with Alabama over Missouri. I'm not even going to say both of us. Texas A&M over Louisiana Tech. Mississippi State over Tennessee. South Carolina over LSU. Kansas State over Iowa State. Texas over Oklahoma. Wisconsin over Purdue. BYU over Oregon State. And Notre Dame over Stanford.
Now, real quick, we put a poll out on our blog this week. We're going to leave it up for the rest of the week. We'll give you another update next week. See if maybe your mind's changed after this week in football. Who's the best team in the country? We had 6 votes coming in for Alabama, if you count our 2 commenters at the bottom. We had 1 vote for Oregon and 1 for West Virginia. We had no votes for Florida, South Carolina, or Kansas State. Now, that surprised me. I would have thought South Carolina would have gotten a vote before West Virginia did.
Yeah, depending on your criteria, my vote would either be for Alabama or for South Carolina. I voted for Alabama in the poll just because, based on my eye test, the unscientific eye test, I think they're the best team. But if you look at accomplishments on the field, as we've mentioned, it's through no fault of Alabama's that their competition hasn't been as good as normal.
You play who you're against.
South Carolina has the more impressive victories at this point. I think I saw something today that if the BCS standings came out right now, Alabama might even be all the way down to 5th, which doesn't quite gel with my thoughts, but I think it's very possible that South Carolina could be rated higher than Alabama in the BCS right now.
I do. I don't think it matters until...
No, it doesn't. It doesn't make any difference. But, again, the whole thing with polls is it all depends on how you define it.
That's right. All right, now we've only got about 2 minutes, 15 seconds. I know you want to talk about this. The baseball season has been extremely fascinating. We might even have to do some blog posts about it. It's been that good. Your Cardinals just went down on a walk-off homer by Jason Worth. Their series is now tied 2-2. They will play a deciding Game 5, I think, tomorrow. The Giants beat the Reds earlier today with a Buster Posey grand slam, 6-4, so the Reds are out. And Baltimore and the Yankees play. It's 2-1 Yankees. And Athletics and Tigers play to decide who goes to the ALDS. What do you think about the baseball season so far?
Well, I want to touch on this real quick. The infamous infield fly call from the Braves-Cardinals game. If you're not familiar with what happened, the one-game playoff, which to me is a stupid, terrible idea, was kind of marred by a missed call where the St. Louis shortstop was basically in left field, dropped the ball, infield fly was called, runner was out, didn't lose the game for the Braves. I mean, they did that for themselves.
Right.
But very controversial call.
Well, it would have given them bases loaded with 1 out, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely changed the dynamics. Atlanta fans went crazy, started throwing all kinds of stuff on the field.
That was ridiculous.
I mean, I think it just kind of proves that the one-game playoff is a stupid idea because something little like that, it erases basically like a 10-game lead that the Braves had over the Cardinals.
Right.
It's just not fair.
Larry made a good comment on our blog that says maybe this will force them to talk about it in the winter meetings. I'm with him. I don't think it'll actually change anything, but it'd be nice to talk about.
Yeah, it's just not fair for, and I'm saying this as a Cardinals fan, it's not fair for the Braves to get put out of the postseason on something like that.
It's not. Go Athletics. They're my big pick of the week. I think they're going to win and go to the ALDS.
All right. We'll see what happens. See what happens in college football this weekend. We'll be back to talk more stuff next week here on Outputting Our Coverage.